Hi, this is John Weber with another edition of Lowcountry Connect, the only show that's going to bring you the lifestyle and the culture of the Lowcountry. Today I've got a special guest, Hilton Head's most interesting people, Meg Herman, who is the owner-agent of Goosehead Insurance here on the island. A lot of people have questions about insurance, flood insurance, things like that. I thought it'd be a really good idea to talk to Meg about it. She is a complete professional, so I hope you enjoy the video. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and Meg's information is going to be down below in the video. Feel free to contact Meg anytime you want to. Anyway, hope you like this. Okay, I am here with Meg Herman, owner-agent of Goosehead Insurance here on Hilton Head Island. And because things are changing rapidly in the insurance game and flood zones, everybody I take out asks about flood zones. So I thought, let's go right to the source. Meg sells flood insurance, home, auto, full coverage, everything else here on Hilton Head. So first off, let's tell us about you.
Absolutely. Thanks for allowing me to be here,
Sure,
John. I appreciate it. So Meg Herman, I've been in the insurance business for about 25 years. We owned an insurance agency in Northwest Ohio and sold the agency about 12 years ago. And we took our dream to the beach, right?
That's nice.
Moved here to Hilton Head, and I'm still doing what I love. I opened the Goosehead Insurance agency here on Hilton Head about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And it's been a real pleasure. One thing about the Goosehead model is I'm part of a very large insurance agency, the largest personal lines agency in the country, Goosehead Insurance. We're publicly traded. We have a lot of resources, including exceptional markets. Mm-hmm. So I represent about 40 plus markets for homeowners insurance here on Hilton Head. And we also have just amazing opportunities in flood insurance as well, which is, I think, a really important topic for us to get into.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Just so everybody knows, Goosehead Insurance is here in Main Street, right at the entrance of Hilton Head Plantation, and I will put Meg's contact information below in the video. So let's start off with what I've been telling people now for a few years. New flood zones were coming, and they are actually going to reseed, and I just want to go on the record and say,
yep,
I did my best. So.
Yes, so yeah, John's been telling the story. We have been waiting for years and years for the National Flood Insurance Program, FEMA, to release their new flood insurance rate map for Beaufort County. And they did that, they approved it, and we began rating to our new flood insurance rate map March 23rd of 2021, so just recently. And that story, I think, by and large, is good, right? Like what happened with that map is we saw about 14,000 properties on Hilton Head, a few more in Bluffton, move from a flood zone A, or a higher risk flood zone, to something more moderate, X shaded, or X, what we used to know as flood zones C and B.
The flood zones were categorized differently a few years back. Now it's X, X500, things like that. Moderate meaning it's not high risk.
So yeah, I love to tell people we all have some risk of flooding, and I think that's an important thing to be thinking about. And we like to be able to share the story about high risk, moderate risk, and then the lower risk zone.
Okay.
For the record, if we are thinking about having a mortgage, mandatory purchase is something that's a part of your mortgage. If you are in an A zone, higher risk zone, your mortgage company will require you to have flood insurance. Okay. If you are in X or X shaded or X500, the moderate or low risk zone, the mortgage company will not require you to have flood insurance.
All right.
So that's kind of a straightforward way of looking at things.
Okay, we're done. All right. Now, there's more to it. So, explain how elevation certificates are no longer needed and things like that.
So what you're really asking about is October 1, and this is something happening right now, FEMA has changed how they will rate flood insurance. So the old way, flood insurance, we'll call it 1.0. Flood insurance 1.0, if you were in an A zone, required an elevation certificate, and the rating factor was very much a part of how that certificate, portrayed the property. We're now moving into, as of October 1, Flood 2.0. And FEMA's sort of changed, or they really have changed, how they will rate flood insurance moving forward. So much of what we used to know about the legacy program 1.0 has changed. Elevation certificates are still important, but there are other rating factors that are important now.
Okay.
So some things you want to think about if you're buying a home. I think this is really what's most salient to your clients. Things we want to think about with flood insurance is, with the 2.0 system, the flood insurance rate isn't going to be the same as it was for the prior owner. The flood rate will change. So we want to do some research as to what FEMA will offer. Most of us think we're going to go to the government to get our flood policy. So I think one thing you want to do is find out what the current owner is paying. Do they have a National Flood Insurance Program policy on the house? And see if we can get a hold of that, right?
Right.
Still get the elevation certificate, because it's important for rating not only with the FEMA program, but also with private flood insurance programs.
Right. Okay.
And so that's the other thing I'll say, is there are other options out there beyond the National Flood Insurance Program. We have a number of private flood carriers that are doing a great job in our area, and I think it's just really important that we do our due diligence.
Which is going to open the market up for them. Right? More so than before.
Right. Okay. And I think by and large, I think that the National Flood Insurance Program and our government program is seeing that there really are opportunities in flood insurance, and they're welcoming. This more robust sort of opportunity in insuring our homes for flood.
Okay. And the people living on Hilton Head Island, the island itself will certainly see a change in their flood insurance rates, things like that, right?
You'll definitely see a difference. So the new rating factors for the National Flood Insurance Program, proximity to a flood source, and the value of the home. Higher value home tends to have a little higher rate.
Okay. So tell them the story about is it Juniper?
Juniper.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a home on Hilton Head Island, and I'll let you tell the story.
Okay. So home on Hilton Head Island moves from a high-risk zone to a more moderate risk zone, and the bank sent our owner a letter that said that the flood insurance was no longer required. And what happened is the owner of the home decided that they were okay with the idea of not renewing the flood insurance because it was not required for the mortgage.
Okay.
And
which is really happening a lot.
Oh yeah.
Mainland, island, everything.
I think I get the question several times a day. Meg, I got a letter from my bank telling me that I don't need flood insurance for the mortgage.
Right.
What should I do? My answer is always keep your flood insurance. We live on an island, right?
Yeah.
But we had this great thing happen with these new maps. A lot of people saw a rate decrease. Hang on to those flood insurance policies, because in the case of 8 Juniper, there's a significant difference between the legacy 1.0 rate and the new 2.0 rate.
And they're like 2 rows back from the ocean.
2 rows back from the ocean.
I think that's a flood source, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The Atlantic Ocean is a source of flooding. So what I guess I want to impress upon you as an agent and our buyers is to really go ahead and find out, is that policy there, because it could be transferable.
Okay, that's good to know.
If it's a National Flood Insurance Program policy, it may be transferred from the prior owner to the new owner, and that could be a significant savings.
In the MLS, when we show houses, they have documents associated with the listing. A lot of times they have expenses, an expense sheet that's in there. Many times it's not in there, so it's important to get that expense sheet to see, are they paying flood insurance? Do they have a policy on it?
Right.
So
yeah, and I think what we're going to see, and what I would like to do for your folks who are hoping to move to the Lowcountry, is research, right? Let's make sure we look under all the rocks and find out, what's there now. Is it transferable, because the NFIP policy is, or what else is out there? And
the National Flood Insurance policy is transferable.
It is.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
It is, and I think it's going to become more and more important to really look at that as an option.
And that's under the umbrella of FEMA.
Correct.
Okay, all right. You also provide auto insurance, home insurance. Any particular questions that people ask you a lot when they're moving down here from Ohio or wherever?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, so my agency, our practice focuses entirely on personal lines insurance. I don't do anything that deals with your business, but everything that deals with you and your family and protecting your assets. So home, auto, motorcycle, golf carts, we've got those.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Boats, all those things, right? All the things, and then an umbrella policy, so we want to take care of your whole family. When people move here, they're used to this idea of bundling their insurance. And when we had the agency in Ohio, we did a lot of bundling, and people would stay with the same insurance company for years and years and years and have that nice bundle with a particular carrier. We don't see that quite as much here because of our coastal area, right? The risk is a little different. We have the Atlantic Ocean, to your point, and we do have storms.
Yeah.
So not every insurance company that does the bundles is willing to take on that risk, or they look at it a little differently.
They're kind of unsure about it, aren't they? If they're moving down from Connecticut and they've got homeowners insurance and they're moving down here, are they not totally familiar with?
Yeah, it's a process of learning about how we care for the risk of the storm. I would say by and large, 2/3 to 3/4 of the cost of your policy is due to, or could be directly correlated to that risk of storm that we see from August, from August until late November.
Okay.
So that's an important feature. And then there are some really amazing regional companies. They may not advertise on the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
Companies you may not have heard of that have chosen this area as their market, right?
Okay.
So we want to make sure that we're looking at some great carriers, A-rated, AM Best carriers that are going to do a great job for your house.
Okay.
Many of those regional companies don't have an automobile company.
Oh,
so they may give you a companion discount to stay in the agency, with your auto insurance, but we would likely and often we look to other companies to provide the automobile coverage, umbrella, boat.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more like you're shopping for each piece of your personal insurance program, including flood.
Okay. And would you say that's your number one question from people moving down here?
Yeah, I think
flood zone or
the flood question is really, really big.
Yeah.
Right, and as it should be. Flood is a peril that's never cared for on your homeowner's policy.
Right, and it's typically through the National Flood Insurance Program, $250,000 for the structure and $100,000 for contents. Is that right?
Correct. So the maximum amount of insurance you can buy from the National Flood Insurance Program is, just as you mentioned, $250,000 on the dwelling, and then $100,000 for contents.
And what if you live in $1 million house, $2 million house?
There is a product called Excess Flood. Again, that's the base layer provided typically by the National Flood Insurance Program, and then you can buy more insurance in the private market to go provide that layer of coverage.
Okay, so that's not a big deal.
Nope, we do it all the time.
Oh, okay, all right. Because the homes around here, they can be on the luxury side, so they'll be more expensive. What about the mainland? Same theory or not theory, but same rules apply on the mainland.
This is true. So same rules apply. I think we see, if we go over the bridge, we see a little more of the lower, more moderate risk zone, as it would stand to reason in Bluffton.
Right.
In our outlying areas. And so also we tend to see more opportunity in the private market. Rates are a little lower,
Oh, that's
in general.
important. Okay. However, there are some areas west, maybe Hardyville or Okatee?
I think, you start to see that there's, just because you're in Bluffton or Hardyville, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily in, a low risk zone.
Yeah.
So
you still have to check, do they have flood insurance? Is it transferable? What flood zone am I in? Essentially, like I think you said, they're dropping a pin in the map, right?
And it stands to reason this is a great idea, right? Like flood insurance, it makes a tremendous sense for me to what FEMA is doing is they're using global positioning to say where's the house,
right? Where's
the flood source, and how much will it cost?
And they've lost a bloody fortune through the years, have they not?
Yes.
The government?
The government. So the National Flood Insurance Program, up until 2004, the premiums that they were taking in were sufficient to pay the losses. Okay. And then something amazing happened in 2004. Like in the world of weather.
Yeah?
Katrina.
Oh, 04, yes.
So that, and then some subsequent storms like Sandy came along.
Yeah.
And now,
04 was a bad year in storms.
Yeah.
Really bad.
So that was the year that things went upside down for the National Flood Insurance Program. And now the National Flood Insurance Program has a 160% loss ratio. So the premiums that they're taking in are not sufficient to pay all the claims, and so it's just year after year.
Oh, really?
A losing proposition.
So they're changing the rules.
They're changing the rules.
Nice. Okay.
That's the story.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add? It's been great information, really.
Oh, good stuff. I think the biggest thing is that this is a special place. You know, we're so blessed to live here.
Yeah, true.
And I think it's really important that you get a local insurance advisor. You know, I know that there's some great insurance advisors out there. I like to consider myself and my team part of that group. We work, colleagues, we work together, but I think for you, the buyer, I would connect with someone locally who understands this marketplace, because it is different. And this is your asset, right? This is where you're going to live, and you want to be able to.
It's paradise.
It is.
Yeah.
So living in paradise.
But as they say, even the Garden of Eden had a snake. So remember that. Anyway, a customer said that to me the other day. I said, that's pretty good. Anyway, I want to thank you. Like I said, I will put Meg's information below in this video, and feel free to contact Meg, email, phone number, and come down, find your dream home. We'll set you up with Meg Insurance. Got to have it.
Love to help. Thanks, John.
Thank you.